Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Coding with T. Today we're going to learn how to design product cards in Flutter and also a grid layout of the Flutter. So in today's tutorial, there are a lot of things that you're going to learn, and this tutorial is going to be a bit long but very informative and very useful for your future projects or for this project as well. So first of all, let's quickly have a look what we're going to create. Okay, so our application is running and we are inside our home.dart. We have created our app bar, all the things, all these categories, and also in the previous tutorial we designed this banners as well. So in today's tutorial we're going to design this product card. Over here you can see we have the image of this product card. We first have a thumbnail, a background color of this image, rounded shape at the bottom. On top of that we have a product image, then we have a product discount percentage, then we have a wish list button which can be added or removed from the item, then we have product title, product brand, and also the price of the product with a add to cart button. When user is going to click on this button, item can be added to the cart. Definitely these all widgets or maximum of these widgets can be reused, because when we are going to click on this product, at the top you can see we again have to use this wish list button. Down below we have a price with a large size, so we have two sizes of the price. We can create a simple widget which have small and large size of the price. We have the discount tag over here, we have same the brand down below over here. So the most of the things that we can reuse. Okay, so if you are following the series, we are creating Flutter e-commerce application and we are in the section 3. In section 1 and section 2, we'll learn how to set up the project and how to design the login part of the screen. And after the login, user will be redirected to this home screen, which we are creating in section 3. So let's start with today's tutorial. Studio, and we are inside the project of Flutter e-commerce application, and down below you can see in the previous tutorial we'll learn how to design the promo slider, which we have completed in the video 6 of section 3. And I've just wrapped this promo slider into a column, because previously it was only in the padding. So wrap it with the column so that we can add rest of the widgets in it. And for today's tutorial I have simply created an empty class which is t product card vertical, an empty class over here. So where it is created, because this card layout can be reused throughout the application anywhere, or we can reuse this product style in any other project. So for that, let's go to common widgets, and in the products, product cards, this is the folder I have created for the product cards. So we have to create two type of product cards in our e-commerce application. The one is the horizontal and the first one is the vertical. So today we're going to focus on this vertical. So the horizontal card will be created in the next tutorials. So for the vertical card, a simple stateless widget. This product card vertical style is simply called over here. So now we are going to design that card inside this one. So as you can see, we have a simple card which is going to be divided into two major portions. The first one is the thumbnail itself, and the second one is the heading with the price and a button. Overall, the product will be in a container. Then we have to divide it. First one, a container with a background color, a border radius, and you see the radius at the bottom. And on top of that, we will use the stack widget to create first image. And then on top of that image, we will have two buttons, wishlist button and the price discount tag. So let's start coding. First of all, we need to create the overall of that product. So use the container, give it some width, 180. Padding has only one, means that we are only going to add a single line of padding which will be displayed in few minutes. Then I am going to use this decoration property with a box decoration, and first of all we need to add a box shadow, because the card itself will have a small shadow. So to create a shadow, first import this class. I have created a simple class, shadow class, which is calling this static vertical product shadow. It has color, blur radius, spread radius, and offset, which is x and y axis. So it is also created inside the same common folder in the styles shadows.dart. Okay, once added, add a border radius, and we are going to use our old sizes class, product image radius, which is when you go to the utils constants and in the sizes.dart, in the t sizes we have product image radius, which is 16. And once added, import the helper function. So we are not going to use the dark mode over here, but let's create a final variable. This is a boolean variable which will check if theme brightness is equal to the dark. If it's true, it is going to return us a true, and that true will be saved over here. So we can simply call if dark is equal to true, use the darker gray color, otherwise use the white color. So this is the decoration for the outer side of our card. If I'm going to run this application, okay, so our application is running. Let's go to the login screen, click on sign in, and currently we cannot see anything over here. So now inside this container, because we have the sides ready, let's add a child property of this container, and in the child we have to use the column because as already talked, we have to align elements from top to bottom. And now inside this column we have to add two things. First one, we have to create a thumbnail, and in the thumbnail we have wishlist button and a discount tag. Then we have to create details. So for the first part, or for the thumbnail part, because we have to create a rounded container, so we are going to use the T rounded container we have already created. So let me show you this container as well. It's a simple container with a width, height, padding, margin, background color, border radius, and a border. So not all the values are given. Show border is by default false. Border radius, you see the radius which is applied, which is a cart radius large property, which is 16 in the T sizes, and background color is white. Border color is border primary, which is the default color, which is basically you can see a white color or a light color maybe. So let's close this rounded container. We're going to use this one, and in that we have to pass the height as 180. Padding will be the small padding, and background color will be, if it's a dark mode, we're going to use this dark color, otherwise we are going to use this light color. So this is the light one and this is the dark color. So once created, let's save it. You can see we can see a small box or a thumbnail box. Switch it to dark mode, and now it's much more visible. Let me also go to the home and add a size box right below this promo slider. Let's save it, and we have a space. Switch back to light mode, and now inside this container we are going to stack elements on top of each other using a stack. First one is the image, then we have two icon buttons or two designs. Inside this container we have to call the child property of this container and use the stack property. Stack has list of children's. So in the children, first thing is the thumbnail image. To create this image, we have pre-rounded image, which we have already created in the previous tutorial. And let me pass the URL. URL is in the t images dot product image one. So let me show you as well. We have list of products already defined over here. When you go to assets in the images and in the products, you see I have defined a lot of products over here. And make sure to add this products in the pub spec as well. Close that one. Let's save the code, and you can see we have the image right in the center of our product card. Let me show you this rounded image also. It has an on press event which we are not going to pass, so it will remain null. We have a default width and height, which again we don't need. Padding is also not needed. And then in the decoration, border, background color, and border radius is also not needed. Border radius is by default applied, which is t sizes dot medium. And if we talk about this clip r rect, which we learned in the previous tutorial, to add radius to the image, so this is what we are going to use. So we have to call apply image radius. Now next to this image URL, we have to call this apply image radius, make it true because it's a boolean variable, and we don't have to provide any radius because when we go back to this rounded image widget, inside you can see border radius by default is the medium one, and this is exactly what we need. So you can also use the product image radius, which is also 16, so it doesn't matter, let it be there. Let's add a constant. So when you hover over this product image, you can see by default is network image is false. So if you're going to use the image from the network, you just have to make it true and it will use the network image. Okay, once the thumbnail created, now we create the sale tag. For the sale tag, because sale tag is rounded, so we can easily use again the rounded container over here. Inside the container, we need to use the radius because when you hover over this rounded container, radius property by default is card radius large, but we need to use this small property because our tag is very small as compared to other cards. And as a background, we are going to use the colors dot secondary color, which is this yellow color, and we have to make this with opacity 0.8 so it can be a transparent. So let's remove the constant from here, add constant to rounded image, let's save it, and currently you can see it's all over the screen, but nothing to worry about. Let's add padding. Horizontal padding will be small and vertical padding will be extra small. So extra small is 4, small is 8. So padding is defined because when we're going to position this, then it is going to not take the complete stack. Currently it's covering the complete stack. So to position this one, first we need to add a child property. As a child text, we are going to give currently static text as 25%, and the theme for this text will be label large. and we have to apply a static color because this color is not going to change for the light and dark mode. So we have to give a static color which will be black. Let's save it. And you can see when we are going to apply the child property, it will be redirected to the left top corner as 25%. So to make it little lower from the top, we have to wrap it with a position widget. Give the top as 12. Let's save it. And you can see it's pushed down. So sale tag is created. Next, create favorite icon button. To create a circular icon, we again have to use a container. So first of all, inside this container, we have to add a color. So color will be, if currently we have a dark mode, then it's black with opacity of 9. Otherwise, it's white with opacity of 9. After this, we have to use the box decoration to add a border radius. Because we're using the decoration, we cannot use color outside of this decoration, but we have to use the color inside this decoration. So paste the color inside it, otherwise you will have an error. So once color and radius applied, as a child of this container, we will use the icon button. On press is for the time being null, and as an icon, we will use the iconsx dot heart 5 property. Iconx library is already added. Now let's save it, and you can see our heart with a background color has been created. Also, before wrapping in a position widget and shift it to the right side, let's extract this as a separate widget. So right click on it, refactor, extract Flutter widget. I'm going to name it T circular icon. Cut it from here. Let's go to the common in the widgets. Create a new folder or directory which is the icons, and inside we are going to use the T icons color. Inside I've added some comments, and I have also added width and height if in case later on we need to use the width and height. So that's why I've added a width and height, icon color and size as well. So currently the size of the icon is large. Now head back over here, import this library. We don't need to pass the dark mode, but we have to pass the icon which is required. We can also add icon color as a red color. Let's save it. And you can see red color with a white background has been applied. Let's add a constant. Now we can also wrap this with a position widget. Use top as 0 and right as 0 to push the icon button to the right side. So let's save it. And you can see our icon is now on the right side and sale tag is on the left side. So first part, which is the thumbnail, is completed till here. Now we have to add the details in that same container. Before adding text, we need to add a padding from the left side. T sizes dot small to add a small size on the left side. So text should not be on the at the border of the container as a child, because in the details we have to add 2 to 3 elements. So that's why we need to use column again. In the children of the column, we first have to add the text, which is the product title text. So a simple text with the overflow as ellipses. This ellipsis means add dots if the text is going to exceed its limit, which is 2 lines, as max lines as 2. And also the text align is going to be the left side. Let me remove this constant. Add constant over here. Let's save it. And down below you can see we have green Nike Air shoes text. So title small is not gonna work. It will be label large. Save it. And you can see text has shrink back to a bit more smaller. So because we need to have this product text on multiple places, so why not create a separate widget of this same text? The reason to create is that we can easily use a Boolean variable to assign 2 type of styles, label large and also title small. So title small will be a bit large. So if we need to show the large style on product details, we can simply pass a boolean variable and our same text style will be applied. So in the common, the widgets, we have to go for the text. Okay, so I have created a product title text, and inside you can see a simple text over here, and all the values are defined in the constructor. So only title is required. Small size by default is false. Max lines 2. Text align is left. So all the properties defined over here. So in here, if small size, then we are going to use the label large style. And also if we need large size, so title small will be used. For by default, small size is false. Let's head back. We can replace this text with a T product title text as a title, pass the text. Let's save it. And also we need to make sure small size is true. Let's save the code, and we got what we want. Also, when our first section is going to end, we have to add a size box, space between items and divided by 2. Let's save it. And we have some small space. Also for the column, to align all the elements on the left side, we will use the start property. Let's save it. So text should start from the left side. Okay, next to this text title, let's add another space between items. And now we want to create brand text with a small verification icon. So to create a text next to a verified icon, we have to use the row property to align elements in a single row. Now, first one is to create a text, name text of some brand, overflow as ellipsis, which is to add some dots, add the max line will be 1, and for the style, use theme dot of context, theme we have already defined and created in our section 1. So if you're new, you can watch the previous tutorial, use the text theme dot. Let's go for the label medium. So once theme is applied, we cannot use the constant at the top. Now let's save the code. And you can see we have a Nike, which is written over here with a gray text. Next to this text, add a small space. And after that, we need to create an icon. So icon will be the verify icon of icons X. Color is the primary and icon size is going to be icons XS, which is extra small size. Let's add constants. And let's save the code, and you can see we have a brand with the Nike sign written over there. Okay, now once text part is created, now we need to design two things, the button and also the pricing. But we have to also make sure that our all cards length should be same or height of all the cards should be same. Let's say we have a text written over here in 2 lines and another card has only 1 line. Then if we are not going to practice or follow the procedure we are going to explain, it will definitely going to look weird. So to overcome that issue, we only have to use a spacer widget. So the spacer is going to utilize the space available and keep the bottom text at the bottom. So let's say we have one text which is going to occupy a single line and another product card which is going to occupy 2 lines. So definitely a card will not be having a same height. So spacer is going to occupy the space, maximum space. Currently you cannot see this because we don't need spacer in this case, but when are you going to move towards the grid layout, you will see that we have a specific height and width of our each item of the grid. So that's why we need to use spacer. Okay, after spacer, we need to add 2 elements in a single row. So we have to use the row property. As the children of the row, the first thing we need to add is a price. Okay, for the product price, create a text variable and inside you created a simple text. Max line will definitely be 1, overflow will be ellipsis, and style is going to be headline medium. Let's save it. So we cannot use spacer currently because you can see everything is gone. We don't have specific height. So for the time being, let's remove this. Let's save the code and you can see the price is visible. We're going to reapply the spacer when we're going to use the grid layout. Okay, so far the price is added. After the price in the same row, to create a button, we have to use a container property. Inside this container, add a decoration. And inside the box decoration, use a color.dark, tcolors.dark, and as a border radius, you see we have used border radius dot only, and top left will be the border radius or the card radius, which is 12.0, and bottom left will be the circular border radius of product image radius, which will be 16. So actually, this is the radius of our card. Now inside this container as a child property, we need to use the icon. So icon is a simple icons x dot add, which will be the plus icon. Color will be white because the background color of this container is dark. Now let's save it. And you can see our card and icon is created. Now to change the size of this icon, we can use this size property to add a size of this icon, but later on when we are going to display 1, 2, 3 or the number of items added in the cart instead of that plus icon, so for that, we cannot use the size over here for this icon, but we also want that same size for our text, which will replace the icon later on in the backend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this icon with a sized box, add width and height of this size box, icon large. You can see icon large is 32, but I have to multiply it with the 1.2 to make it a bit more larger. So add a constant. Let's save it. And you can see now our icon is looking nicer. To wrap either a text or icon in the center. So we will again wrap this icon with a center widget, and that's it. Now we have to push this to the right side and keep the pricing on the left side. So inside the row, we have to use the main axis alignment space between. Let's save it. And you can see it has been pushed towards the right side, and that's the end of the card. So one more thing at the top, you can see we have to wrap this container with a gesture detector. So whenever user is going to click on this card, something should be performed or some action, or definitely a product detail screen should be appeared. So wrap this with a widget gesture detector. It's on tab currently null. So that's it for the first thing, which is to design the card. Now we can assume the card is designed and we can easily create the grid layout. So head back to home.dart. So first of all, what is a grid layout? Grid layout is basically same like a list view or the layout we have already used multiple times in our applications. So it's another type of layout or the layout widget which allow us to create grids easily without a lot of hassle. So we're going to use that grid layout. So to use that, we only have to use the Gridview.builder. So this is what we are going to use. Okay, inside you can see in the Gridview.builder, we have to pass two things. So first one is the grid delegate. When you hover over this grid delegate, you can see it's a sliver type of grid delegate, which requires or which allow us to give spacing between the grids, main axis spacing, cross axis spacing, also how many elements we want as a cross axis attributes. So let me create sliver grid delegate with a fixed cross axis and max cross axis. So we are going to use the fixed cross axis over here, and as a cross axis count, because we need to show two products. So in here you can change this count based on, let's say you are going to display something on a tablet, something on some other device, maybe on the web part, you can change the value over here. So currently cross axis count is 2. We also have to remove this constant, add comma at the end. And now also when you hover over this, you can see we can pass main axis spacing, cross axis spacing, and child aspect ratio. So these are the spacing between the cards that we are going to use. Control Alt L to align, add constant for a clear visibility. So cross axis count is 2 elements on the cross axis. Main axis spacing means its main axis is vertical and cross axis is horizontal. So when we're going to talk about the main axis, we are going to talk about its vertical axis. So cross axis is the horizontal axis. So we are going to add two elements. Main axis is the vertical. So I'm going to add spacing, which is a grid view spacing of 16. And for the same cross axis, I'm going to use the same spacing. Next, our very main thing, which is the main axis extend. This means that how much large one child of this grid can be. Main axis is a vertical axis. So how large the main axis extend. So for our product, I'm going to use 288 because I have tested this. You can play with these value to adjust as you like. Next, for the item builder, we have to add the main item which we're going to display in the item builder. So hover over this, you have to pass the context item as a function and it will return as a widget. So we have to pass the widget in short. Wrap it with a function. This function requires the build context. We don't need it. Then an index which we require. And next we have to return some widgets. So we are going to return the product card vertical. Let me remove this from down below over here. And as a product builder, one more main thing is we need to pass the item count. Let's say we need to pass 4 items, and also we have to make this shrink wrap to true so that it cannot take all the space available and it can shrink to only attributes we provided. Now let me save the code, and you can see we have a one single product. Currently it's not being scrolled. It's being scrolled from here, but not from here, because we have to tell this grid view builder that you should not be scrolling because we have something already scrollable. So let's add physics, never scrollable, scroll physics. This means that now this grid is not going to scroll its children's. Let's save it, and now you can see it's going to scroll. So our main single child scroll view at the top is working. If you see some extra padding in your case, so you can simply use the padding as in sets.0, control alt L. This is going to remove the extra spacing you can see from the top and not going to add anything additional. In here you can see we have added these things, but to make this reusable, the only thing we require is all the time we have to pass this custom item builder. So let me extract it as a separate widget. Okay, in here in the layout folder of common widgets, in the layout directory, I have created a new class which is grid layout, and I have created, name it a simple stateless widget, name it tgrid layout, and in the build method I have created gridview.builder, simply copy paste it, but I've removed this item count, which is a constant value, remove it from here, pass it at the top, and item builder has been passed as same widget function, same way it requires over here. So it's a widget function build and integer, and also the main axis extend, which by default is 288, but we can easily change it as we want. So let's head back. In the home.dart, I have replaced it with a T grid layout. We have passed the item count as 4. Let's say we replace it with the 2, and item builder is again passed in the same way. So let's save it, and you can see we only have 2 products. And also at the top you can see inside the product card I have replaced the price with a custom price, created a separate widget for the price title, and in here it's a simple text, currency sign, it's again a string, but I have added a currency sign default dollar sign, and also the price separately, max line is by default 1. Line through is, let's say we are going to put item on a sale and we have a price which is a sale price, so we can easily add a line through variable using apply decoration. Line through will be true, otherwise it's null. So by default line through is false. And in here let's remove this age large to be false. Let's save it, and you can see our item is ready. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something new. If you learned something new, or if you are new to this channel, make sure to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon as well to get notified about all the upcoming videos. You can also download the code from the link provided in the description below. Once again, thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.